welcome to Paper Mache People. I'm your host, Mishre, and in today's episode, along with my co-host Yiling, we welcome our first guest. Yi Ke is not only a dear friend, but she's also worked closely with communities living deep in the Malaysian jungles, and whose stories are often overlooked. Yi Ke was a finalist in the Society of Publishers in Asia SOPA Awards in 2021 under the Excellence in Human Rights Reporting category for her work and investigation of the mass death of the Batik tribe in Malaysia. SOPA Awards is an honor that recognizes the region's most outstanding journalists and supports the free press in Asia. Yiling and I decided on the name Paper Mache People because wherever we go, we seem to pick up bits and pieces of local quirks and make them a part of who we are, just like paper mache. Together with our guest Yi Ke, we will explore what it truly means to belong. Is it defined by the landmarks of our birthplace, our history, culture, and language, or something else entirely? Also, do Malaysians' indigenous community embody Malaysianness more deeply than the average Malaysian? Listen on to find out. Just a quick note before we begin, my microphone wasn't working properly during the recording, so the audio isn't great. Thanks for bearing with it, and I hope you enjoy our discussion with Yi Ke. Today we have a super special episode. It's our first time having a guest on the show. And today we have our friend from high school from Malaysia. Yi Ke, welcome to the podcast.
Hello Elaine. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, thanks for coming to the show. So where are you now, Yi Ke?
I'm now in Taipei, Taiwan. I'm studying master degree in Taiwan now, and this is like my third year.
What is your master's thesis on?
I studied the indigenous culture, mostly in shamanism, ritual. Yeah, it's more like medical anthropology.
Okay.
It's like I study how do they treat people when someone get ill. So I study their healing ceremonies. Yeah.
Oh, how did you get to know about this very specific field, I feel?
Let's start from the beginning. So I didn't really aware that we have indigenous people in Malaysia, like when we were studying in primary school or even high school, we don't get to know much about them.
Yeah.
And what we do know about the indigenous people of Malaysia is like Iban and Kadazan.
Yeah.
And they are in the Borneo. And we don't get to see them in real life in the Peninsula. So these indigenous people, they are quite abstract, for me.
Yeah.
And then I studied, I get my degree, my bachelor's degree in Taiwan also. And back then I was a DJ in my campus.
Okay.
So
nice.
yes,
Cool.
and then I also do podcasts back then, but I was a campus DJ lah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and then I joined a program. In Chinese, the program is called 图腾印象. So it's like, I don't know how to translate it. It's like inspiration of totem, something like that. So we interview a lot of Taiwanese indigenous singer.
Ah, okay.
And so that's the first time I get to know the concept or the identity of indigenous people.
Yes.
And I learned their stories, I learned their histories, and I learned this culture that are very different from the majority culture in Taiwan also.
Yeah. Wow. So your first exposure to indigenous people was actually in Taiwan.
Yeah. And then after that, I graduated and I started to think like, oh, when we talk about indigenous people in Malaysia, what are the first image we can think of?
Yeah.
And still, the image pops out in my mind is Iban and Kadazan.
Yes. And their longhouse.
Yes, it's the only thing you can think of. And the fact is, I've not been to Borneo before, like back then.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then I keep thinking like, oh, there's one day I really wish that I have the opportunity to go to Borneo and discover the culture and history of these Ibans and Kadazan people.
Mhm.
But later on, when I became a journalist in Malaysia, I work in Kuala Lumpur,
Mhm.
and I discovered that actually in Peninsula, we have our own indigenous people.
Yes. Mhm.
And there are at least 19 groups of them.
Oh, wow.
So I googled their tribe's name. It gave me weird feelings because their names were very strange to me.
Mhm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I've not
Yeah.
seen those names before, and I don't really know where they live, how they
Mhm.
look like, what kind of language they
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's like you're living on the same land, and Malaysia is not that big, to be honest. And all of a sudden, you discover there's like 19 other groups of people living in the same country, and
Yes.
you've never heard about them. You don't even know what they're called, what language they speak. Right. I found that really, really
Yes.
weird. After like listening to your TED Talks and stuff, it was also like, what is batik?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You see, there's a group of people call themselves batik, but the batik that we know is like the cloth, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was really, really cool to find out, but also really shocking in a way that we never learned about it in school, and none of our families ever say anything about it. And you don't
Mhm.
run to them, but you don't run into them in your daily life, right?
But that is
So,
just like the reality of like city dwellers, because for those people that live in kampong area, right? They
Yeah.
will tell you that they know these people since in the beginning.
Oh,
wow.
They
interesting. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
they know they're existent. But the fun fact is, even though they can say like, oh, I know they are not Malay, they
Mhm.
are the orang asli,
Yes.
but they won't use the word indigenous. They don't have the sense about it. They just know like they are not Muslim. They are the original inhabitants in the land.
Mhm.
And most of the time, they will use the derogatory term, which is called sakai.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
What are the interactions like between the villagers and the indigenous people?
Do
Um,
they mix?
yeah, there are a lot of mix there, especially like Chinese with indigenous people.
Hmm.
For example, like the field side, my field side, there are a lot of indigenous people mixed with Chinese, so they have the single eyelid, you know,
Mhm.
but with a darker skin tone, so you can see the combination there. And then some of them even have the name called Sepet. I was like, why is your name called Sepet? Because I'm Mata Sepet lah. I said.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that really their registered name? Like,
Okay, so according to the indigenous people, in their culture, they actually have three names.
Mhm.
So one of the name is called the inner name.
Mhm.
It's like nama dalam.
Yeah.
So that name is mainly related to their birth traits, like for example, how they look like,
Mhm.
or when they were born, what is beside them. For example, a tree,
Mhm.
a
Okay.
flower.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't find
right.
those traits, and then maybe like sepet,
Yeah.
it's like
Your feature. Yeah.
yeah, features like lembu because you look strong.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
cow. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like naming, we in Chinese we also have like anu go ama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. These names, they are like the secret within the tribe.
Yes.
So when they want to deal with the outsiders, like for example, like when they want to register their IC card, they cannot put this name on their card.
Mm.
So the government will suggest them to give themselves a Malay name,
I see.
like Fatima, Muhammad,
Oh
Ismail,
wow.
and any Muslim name that you can think of, but they are not Muslim.
Can you have a Muslim name without being a Muslim?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like,
Really?
The more
I
the
didn't know
merrier.
that. Can I call myself Fatima if I want?
that one I'm not sure. But there's a conspiracy theory saying that the government suggested those Muslim name because if they want to become Muslim in the future, it will be very convenient. It's like they just chop the Islam words,
Right,
and then
right,
you
right.
don't need to change your name again.
Yeah.
So that's one of the policy our government created. Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
So there's a third name. It's called nama panggilan, which is like the calling names.
Yeah.
So you only get the third names when you give birth to a child.
Oh, so
For
only for
example,
women?
for parents, like for
Okay.
example, like my name is Ike. So if I give birth to a kid called Mi Xue, so now I have the third name, which is Mak Mi Xue.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. And then my husband get the name Pak Mi Xue, something like that.
Yeah. It's also like in Korea, I heard that when you give birth to a child, then you are then known even between your friends as this person's mom or this person's
Yes,
dad.
yes,
So you lose
yes,
your identity in a sense. You're just that
yes.
person's
Yeah, yeah.
parents. Yeah.
Yes. It's like
Interesting.
changing a face, you change your role. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you only name after your first kid. So like my
Ah,
second
okay.
child is
Yeah.
if my second child is called Eileen, I'm
Yeah.
still Mak Mi Xue.
Oh, sorry, Eileen.
Yeah. So you will follow the first
No.
kid. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Wow.
And so I think you have a very interesting insight into like populations that the general population in Malaysia are unfamiliar with. And you have also lived in Malaysia and you've also lived in Taiwan. Is there a place where you feel most at home that you belong to?
I don't really have those kind of place that I will say I belong there because for example, like I was born in Pudu, raised in Puchong, now live in Serdang. I mean, like I'm based in Taipei now, but my house is in Serdang.
Yes.
So
Mm.
if you ask me like how well I know these places, I don't think I qualify as local. And I assume most people in KL can relate to this feeling. But when I came to Taiwan, and most of my Malaysian friends who come from Malacca, Penang, Ipoh, Johor, they have this very strong sense of identity, like, oh, we are all Malacca people. And then we have our strong roots, we have our heritage, and then we are proud that we are the origin of like Baba Nyonya,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. But
I can get what you mean
Yes.
because I grew up in the city center in Kuala Lumpur, and it's just changed so much since I was born. When I think about my childhood, my grandmother on my mother's side, she actually lived in Maluri. So that area used to be what we call Sing Tun. So I guess it wasn't technically a Sing Tun. It was more like kind of not very legal squatters. And my grandparents basically had like a verbal agreement that they can live there.
Yeah.
When I had a memory of my grandparents' house, it was just like this sampai, it's just like you go through this dirt path and you end up in this overgrowth of coconut trees and stuff. It's actually, we call it Ye Yuan Coconut Garden. And then when I was a little bit older, then a Jusco appeared right next to my grandmother's place. So there used to be a fence between my grandmother's place and Jusco, and we would break a hole through the fence to get direct access to Jusco. Yeah. But then now the whole place is gone. My grandmother's house is gone.
Yeah.
And it's an apartment. It's a high-rise apartment complex called Amaya. Yeah, that's that. All my memories of that piece of little triangle in Maluri has been totally changed. Except for Jasco, it's called Aeon now, but it's still there.
Okay.
That's like my only childhood memory. But so I guess that's like, my interpretation is like it comes with living in a place that's going through rapid development. You're just like at the stage where every decade of one place looks different, and it's hard to have like a bond with a physical location because it's just changing so fast. Do you get that feeling too, Yuka?
Yeah, I mean, like, you see, I was raised in Puchong, so the only thing that I can recall about Puchong is just Ai Mall.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
It's all about malls, actually.
yeah.
We have a special relationship with our malls. I also spend a lot of time in malls.
What's your mall?
Mid Valley.
You see, so but imagine like today, Aeon, Ai Mall, Mid Valley, they all collapse. Will you cry?
No.
No.
Yeah, we don't feel anything, right? Because there will be new buildings, coming in.
But do you think that's a problem with KL as a city, or more like we don't appreciate our cultural heritage a lot? Or that the way we learn history in school is just to memorize a lot of facts without linking it to our everyday lives. And so we don't really have the appreciation of what is really around us and what makes this place special.
Maybe because like Malaysia is still a developing country, but I think like for Kuala Lumpur, it's already overdeveloped.
Yes.
So especially like in the town, there used to be a lot of heritage buildings, and you can see the old buildings there, and then with a lot of cultures and stories. But now it just feels very weird. Like you see those high-rise buildings, and then in contrast with those old buildings, I felt it quite weird when I was walking there. I don't really like the feeling because I studied exchange in Europe before. And the European country, they are very developed, but still you see them heritage, their old buildings very well,
Yes.
They have laws that protect those buildings.
Yes, you don't see a lot of skyscrapers like in Amsterdam, even in London, you don't see a lot of them, You go to Spain, you go to Barcelona, you can see a lot of their cultures still preserved so well. But they are developed country, so I don't get why we need to build so many skyscrapers and prove that we are heading to some I don't know, better future or what. Because when the people don't when the people forgets about their roots, we are just empty, I mean, like, you don't really feel connected to the place that you were born, or the place that you live.
Yeah, I can see your point. But again, I also feel like the countries in Europe, like you mentioned in the UK or the Netherlands, these are countries that have very long, continuous history as one nation. Whereas compared to Malaysia, where it has gone through a lot in the past 500 years ever since the Europeans entered our world. And to be honest, our ancestors didn't really exist in Malaysia until just a few generations ago. So do you feel like maybe it could be part of that as well? That like the land had a lot of disruptions in history, and us specifically as like Chinese Malaysians, our ancestors didn't come from Malaysia. So growing up, I think we still stuck with a lot of our Chinese culture, like Chinese New Year, Mid-Autumn Festival, and I don't know.
Winter solstice.
Yeah, we still embrace all the Chinese stuff. And I guess I appreciate it in a way, but we never really developed like a Malaysian culture, like those common celebrations like National Day, Malaysia Day, or what else are there? We don't really do anything together with other Malaysians, don't you think?
Yeah, so that is basically the thing that I learned from the indigenous people. It's like when I started the journey to doing research about them, and I made a lot of orang asli friends from different tribes. And even though like they are the minorities of our country, but when they speak of their traditions, their culture, you can see a lot of shadows from like other ethnic groups. So some of the indigenous people, they will celebrate Chinese New Year, and they will celebrate Hari Raya, And they also celebrate Christmas. In their ritual, you can see like incense sticks. You can see them burning Joe's paper.
Yeah,
And you see a lot of fusion culture,
very interesting.
you know, in their village.
Mhm.
And they
Yeah.
are really living as a Malaysian, you know. It's more
Right.
Malaysian than we are.
Yeah.
So when I ask them like, why you celebrate Chinese New Year? They will ask me back, why can't we celebrate Chinese New Year? So I ask myself,
Mhm.
if they can celebrate Chinese New Year, why the Chinese community cannot celebrate Hari Raya? Why we don't celebrate Deepawali together?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, the most that we do now is just like, oh, I have some Malay friends, I have some Indian friends, and I will just, like go to their place to have food. But why can't we host a Hari Raya party as a Chinese person?
Yeah.
Right? It's
Right. Yes. I mean, like they really appreciate those mixed culture, you know, mixed heritage.
But I'm really curious about the indigenous people. Do you think that they feel like they belong in Malaysia, even though they're easily forgotten and overlooked by the majority of the people? Do they feel like they're secure and they're okay with how things are, or are they not happy with how things are?
It's very complicated issues. Like most of the time, they will be falsely identified by the others as Malay, especially like during the Ramadan season, because some of them really looks similar to Malay,
Mm-hmm.
maybe without the scarf. But for guy, they look quite same with Malay, and they have a Malay name. So like during Ramadan, if they want to go for lunch, for dinner, there will always someone go and kacau them.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, how can you eat during Ramadan? You need to fast, that kind of thing. And then they need to explain that, oh, I'm indigenous people, I'm orang asli, I'm either maybe Christian, I'm maybe Buddhist, I'm maybe animist. But those people, they don't believe because we were not educated about their existence. So they need to keep explaining their identity. They need to keep explaining their culture, their belief. But still, a lot of them face the same issue like in daily life. And even though you say you're orang asli or you say, oh, I'm a Semai people, I'm a Batik, people have not heard about this name before. So they couldn't really relate. It's like, huh, what are you? You know?
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so you were discussing the relationship between an orang asli and someone who is not, and how is it like within their people?
That's also another interesting fact is initially I thought like the orang asli, although they are 19 groups, right? I thought they know each other, but turns out they themselves don't really know other groups too. Yes, they only knows the people they are near their tribes.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay.
So in their cosmologies, they know they are Malay, Chinese, Indian, and their tribe, and maybe another 2 tribes near their tribes, and that's all. That's the word that they know. But out of that zone, they don't know. Yeah. So the language they speak between different groups is also Malay.
Yeah.
They have their own language.
Do they still speak it?
Yeah, they still speak it, and the language is also another very interesting way to know the indigenous people, because apparently like we call the orang asli Sakai, right? Most of us are not aware that it's a derogatory term. For the orang asli, different groups of people will also label the other ethnic groups by using their derogatory terms.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting thing. You see, like the interaction between different ethnic groups are not, you know, it's a two-way thing.
I guess it makes sense because they might be fighting for the same resources. So it's like the opposing tribes, right?
Yes. For example, like they call the Malay GOP, you know, GOP.
What does that mean?
So I've been trying to find out why they call Malay GOP, and it's a very long journey. I later on discovered that it's the word from a tribe called Jahut. So Jahut is a tribe in Pahang.
Okay.
So in their language, GOP means catching fish.
Okay.
Fisherman?
And no. And the way they catch fish is like putting both of your palms like in the water. It's like this.
Ah.
You can relate why they call Malay grog, because the
Yeah.
way they catch the fish resemble how the Malay pray. So they say like their gesture looks a bit like, you know, catching the fish. So they refer this group of people gog.
Okay.
And for Chinese, so the indigenous people in Selangor is called Mamari. The Mamari people, they call Chinese chongke. Chongke means chopstick. So yeah, so we are the people who use the chopsticks to eat. That's how we get the name chongke.
Mm.
And I wouldn't say it's a derogatory term. It's just you know, a cultural trait or something.
Yeah.
But and then I discovered that the indigenous people in Kelantan, the Temia people, they call the Chinese Qinggong.
Sounds
Qinggong. And
offensive.
then I keep yes, and then I asked them why Qinggong, and then they show me a very interesting expression, and then I assume it's a derogatory term. And I keep asking them to explain to me how this word became the label of Chinese.
Mhm.
Eventually, there's a lady, she told me like, Qinggong is the kind of person that holding sweets in his right hand and holding poison in his left hand.
Oh no.
Oh.
It means a cunning person, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's very true that a lot of Chinese people are quite cunning back then. Like we give them that kind of impression, and that's how they gave us the name of Qinggong.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's a very instinctive way to label people. It's just like how we call Caucasian people like Ang Mo, redhead, because
Yes,
it's just like a
yes.
physical trait or a cultural trait, chopsticks, or that's very interesting. But you mentioned earlier that, you know, the indigenous people, when they are in their home country, they still have to explain who they are and defend their way of life, I guess. But if you flip it around, you being a Malaysian in Taiwan, you look exactly like a Taiwanese person, right? Appearance wise, do people even find out that you're not Taiwanese? And are they surprised when you say that you're from Malaysia?
Most of the time, no one realized that I'm not Taiwanese. Perhaps because I mimic their accent quite well.
Mm.
But in certain situations, my unfamiliarity with some aspect of Taiwanese culture can give me away. For
Yeah.
example, I once went to a Taiwanese elementary school for an interview. I remember the students' wash basins were covered with the 注音符号, you know, like the 注音symbol.
Yes.
Mhm.
So the principal proudly asked me like, do you see what's written here? And since I had never learned 注音,
Yes.
I had no idea what it said and replied, oh, I don't know. And to my surprise, the principal reacted strongly and couldn't understand why a Taiwanese university student wouldn't know how to read 注音. And then that's when I explained that, oh, I'm actually from Malaysia and I'm a Malaysian Chinese. And then later on, she was even more astonished and praised me like for having no accent. But honestly, every time someone comments on whether I have an accent or no, I feel a bit uneasy because it makes me feel like the listener is viewing me through certain stereotypes.
Yes.
And that feeling can sometimes be uncomfortable. Most of the time, I will try to pretend that I'm a Taiwanese because I don't want to explain, you know. I don't want to keep explain that where I come from.
Yeah. It gets
Yeah.
tiring after a while.
Yeah.
But in terms of language, I think we do share a lot of similarities because it's very easy to pick up how they speak. I mean, we watch the Taiwanese drama, right?
Yeah.
And then it's also very easy to mimic their accent. I mean, it's same like we felt that it's more easy to mimic the maybe British accent, American accent, but it's quite hard for us to mimic the Irish accent, Scottish accent, because we are not familiar with that.
Yeah.
We don't see their dramas, you know. So when I was studying in Ireland, I studied exchange in Ireland. It was quite tough because their accent is completely another level.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
tough one.
For example, like they call the bus stop bus stop.
Mhm.
Do you want to go to the bus stop? And then I was like, what the heck is bus stop? You cannot you cannot relate, you know.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to subway?
Mhm.
I also cannot
Subway.
catch what's the word. Yes,
Yeah.
subway, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but the Taiwanese is not that hard to mimic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like master the words they use in daily conversation.
Mhm.
Mhm. Since you blend in so well, do you ever sometimes feel like you actually belong more in Taiwan than anywhere else?
No. I mean, the truth is, as a Malaysian, I find that speaking a Rojak language feels more
Mhm.
comfortable to
Yes.
me because I wasn't aware of this quirky habit when I first arrived here.
Mhm.
But gradually, I realized that there are certain words that can't be directly translated into proper Chinese because they only make sense in maybe Cantonese, Hokkien,
Mhm.
Hakka, Malay. For example, like jialat lah, kek tau ah, walau
Abuden.
abuden, alamak, dipersiasuikan, hokai, that kind of words. So when you force yourself to speak more properly, like you become more polite.
Mhm.
And eventually you create a gap
Mhm.
between yourself and the others.
Mm.
So interestingly, like I have a talk few months ago in Malaysia. I mean, it's an online talk, but most of my
Mhm.
audience, they are Malaysian.
Yes.
And so when I speak to
Mhm.
Malaysian audience, I will use our very local accent, campur a lot of Rojak words to convey my message. But then I have a Taiwanese friend. She is really interested in listening to my talk, and she joined the Zoom. And she says she cannot
Mm.
understand me at all. And she felt like she changed a friend, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, because the Yi Ke in the Zoom is completely different from the Yi Ke that she had known for years, you know.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
developed like
Yeah.
different speaking I don't know system.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wonder why do Malaysians try to adapt to the place that they're in more so than if an American were to go wherever in the world, they would just be like, yeah, I'm American. This is how I speak. I'm not going to change how I speak. This is me. And what would it take for us to be like, okay, I'm going to speak the way I speak at home and you have to deal with it.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's maybe because we are minorities. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like people will have trouble understanding us.
Yeah.
If it's just like what Yuka said just now, like her friend couldn't understand her when she switched to like the Rojak English.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's not like, you know, the Irish person who goes wherever in the world, he will still say bus stop wherever, you know. They're not going
That's
to,
true.
yeah. So it's more like, I think we need to also start taking more pride in the uniqueness of the way we speak. Because I think since we are young, we are always told like, oh, you're not speaking proper whatever, proper English, proper Malay, proper whatever. It's as if like there's always this gap between our daily life and what is right. And what is right is better and like true. And what we are is a little bit more like, you know, to some extent lower class, you know. So we always try to make ourselves what everybody have been telling us since we were young.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely like something that we are taught since young.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, when I hear my parents speak, because I don't think they can switch modes like we can. It's kind of like a younger generation, like our generation thing, where we can switch to different modes when we talk to different groups of people. Whereas my mother will talk the same way to her Chinese friends, to my friends, to my Swedish husband. She will talk the same way, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's somehow we being exposed to like Western media or like international media, and we feel like we know these things. Like if we want to pretend to be a Taiwanese person, we can. So sometimes it's easier to just do it. I don't know.
Yeah, but they can't. Remember that like
Yeah.
I think our mathematics teacher, 谢老师, she's Taiwanese.
Xie 老师, yes.
So she's a
Mhm.
Taiwanese, right? You
Mhm.
see, she couldn't change her accent
Yeah.
even though she married to a Malaysian guy
She couldn't.
for maybe, I don't know, 20 years, 30 years. But she still speak like
Yeah.
X, L, M, N. That kind of English slang, you know.
Yes.
That's something that I couldn't understand. I think they are not as flexible as we are. I don't know. I consider that a kind of ability lah, in a good way.
Yes, it is, right? To some extent, it's a strength to be flexible and adaptable. But on the other hand, it stems from, to some extent, a lack of pride in what we are.
Maybe.
Do you think so? Maybe. I don't know. I think sometimes it's just out of convenience.
Yeah.
I feel like, let's say you can speak two languages. Let's say you can speak English and you can speak French. Then you go to France. Then you would just choose to speak French, right? You wouldn't try to speak English to a French person, although the French person might be able to speak English as well. So you're just making it easier for the other person. It's just as simple as that.
I mean, yes, but my observation is just that we take that stance of making it easier for others, and other people stick to what they know, right?
But when I'm in Malaysia, I will speak my Malaysian English, and if there's other people around, they will just have to deal with my Malaysian English as well.
Yeah.
So like 入乡随俗, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah. Although like Chinese, we consider ourselves as like minorities in Malaysia, right? But when I'm working with the indigenous community, they're actually more minority than us.
Yes.
But the interesting fact is like, even though they are more minority than us, but a lot of the young orang asli that I work with, they can actually speak Chinese. I mean, they went to Chinese primary school. For me, I will try to learn their language and talk in their language, but these kids, they will keep speaking Chinese to me.
Yeah.
And I felt really touched because they also tried their best to communicate with me. It's not
Yeah, they're very accommodating.
Yes, they will speak Chinese to me and they will tell me about their cultures in Chinese language to let me feel like I'm in home, you know. So yeah, like let me feel that I'm welcome here. But for me, it's like I just keep trying to speak their language so that I can be part of them.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So maybe we are just like very accommodating people.
Yeah, just trying to make people feel at home. Don't want to break the in Japanese, so like there's this like wa is the harmony. So you don't want to break the the harmony of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've covered a lot of grounds in this episode. I have one last question for you, because what's going to happen next after you finish your master's in Taiwan? Being a global soul like you, where are you going to end up? Do you have an idea?
I will definitely continue my journey in indigenous study, but maybe in another way. I won't stick myself in academic writing. Yeah. Because you cannot reach the public.
Would you be mostly covering like indigenous people in Malaysia or all around the world?
It depends on the opportunity that I get. But of course, I wish that I have that kind of opportunity to assess the other indigenous people in the whole world, and Amazon or whatever, North America, New Zealand, so on. I really wish that I have the chance to look into their cultures and get to know these people. But yeah, for now, I think I'll just stick in Peninsula.
Is there something that you've learned from them that you incorporate in your daily life?
The indigenous people, like the thing that I like to being with them is like they really show the community love that I don't get to experience as a kid, you know, living in city. And they are very accommodating, and I really love the way that they mingle with people and the way they care for the others. Because in today's world, especially like I'm now based in Taipei, it's also capitalist city, you know. Most of the people, they practice the individualism. It's like we just care about ourselves, you know. We don't care about the others. And it's becoming more and more selfish and impolite. And we felt that the world is spinning just around ourselves. But indigenous people, they really treat everyone as themselves. And I really appreciate that kind of treatment. And I think that like in the world that a lot of people suffer from psychological problems, mental health issue, and they taught me how to become a good person and be good to the others.
Oh, yeah, that's a really cool message.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's
Use more of that.
from the people that you don't see. There's a secret message of kindness and openness to others, even though they are in a place of vulnerability because they are forgotten and they are not being always taken care of. And yet they can still show so much kindness. And that's definitely all these city dwellers like us should incorporate in our daily lives. Yeah, thank you so much, Yi Ke, for coming to our episode.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it from us today. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to share what it means for you to belong, connect with us on Instagram or TikTok at papermache.people. And don't forget to hit follow on your favorite podcast app so you will never miss when a new episode drops.